time do you think each of you guys spend on your phone each day? Some think we don't really spend that much time at all, but the New York Post published an article stating that we check our phones once every 12 minutes and can't go more than 4 hours without needing to check our phones. Now, you may think that this statistic is completely overdramatic and doesn't apply to you at all, but I want you to imagine something. You're at a party and you put your phone down on the counter and then go and talk to some of your friends. A little while later, you feel like you need to check your phone, and so you reach in your back pocket and it's not there. Instant dread begins to fill you as you freak out and can't find your phone and run around the house, and eventually you find it, which, thank goodness, because who wants to pay $700 for another phone? Technology is constantly around us. We interact with it every day, from TVs, computers, phones, laptops, iPads, and so much more that we don't even always notice that it's there. But here's the thing, it's causing some negative side effects, especially in kids. Kids are being harmed socially, mentally, and physically by constantly being around technology. First, let's look at how it's mentally affecting our kids. The American Academy of Pediatrics, or the AAP, states that children under 2 years learn how to communicate by hands-on interactions with their caregivers. Now, some people say, oh, these apps are helping kids learn, and some of them are, but they still have trouble taking the information they learn on a screen and applying it into the real world around them. Plus, also, some of those educational apps and TV shows aren't actually educational. The new age of technology is having some devastating effects on how kids interact socially. The Cleveland Clinic said that they're having a lack of understanding of emotions, which is leading to them having trouble making friends. But also, it's hurting themselves personally with low self-esteem. How many of you guys have seen a picture on Instagram or Facebook of some beautiful girl and automatically compared yourself to them, hating yourself for the way you look, and wanting to change everything about you? I know I have. There are several strong cases for how technology is hurting us, but the strongest is the physical. First, lack of sleep is a huge issue. The National Sleep Foundation found that 90% of Americans use some kind of technology to help them fall asleep. But the thing is, the blue light emitted by your phones causes your brain to be stimulated, and it won't release the necessary sleep hormones like melatonin, making it harder to fall asleep. And the longer you use the phone, the longer you're awake. And lack of sleep, I'm sure all of you have felt it as a student before. You feel like you can't get anything the next day, and like a hammer is constantly being pounded on your head. Next is your eye damage. The American Optometric Association has discovered an actual syndrome called computer vision syndrome, or CVS, caused by overuse of screens. It's actually a group of eye and vision related problems that result from prolonged screen use. Symptoms include eye strain, headaches, neck and shoulder pain, and blurred vision. If you don't take this seriously and get some help, it can permanently damage your eyes. The worst outcome, though, is obesity. Child obesity rates have skyrocketed in the last year. Victor Strasberg, a doctor, states that we've created a perfect storm for childhood obesity. Americans couldn't do a worse job at the moment of keeping kids healthy and fit. There's too much TV, too much junk food, and not enough exercise or sleep. The AAP blames ads for junk food, lack of movement, and sleep for obesity. The American Heart Association published an article called "The Sedentary Behaviors in Today's Youth Approaches to the Prevention and Management of Childhood Obesity." They conducted several studies, and that led to the results that kids are sitting still for 8 of the hours they're awake. That means you're sitting still, doing nothing for 8 hours. And the scary thing is, the older you get, the more this number increases. So as a teenager, I'm spending almost all of the time I'm actually awake, sitting, and doing nothing. This leads to not only obesity, but major heart issues. Many people overlook the negative side effects for the positive when dealing with the problem of too much technology. Technology is great. As I said, it helps us communicate so much easier than ever before. I get to talk to some friends I met all the way in Germany while I was over there this summer. And my dad, instead of having to travel every single week, gets to stay at home and spend time with the family. Just to do this class, I'm using a phone, a computer, and so much more, and I use this every day to do this class. Yes, there are many benefits with technology, and I'm not saying that all technology is bad, but we are using way too much of it without considering the possible side effects. There are some solutions though. When dealing with overuse, try to have an unplugged zone where there's no screens allowed whatsoever. And also, parents have to lead by example. Kids learn and mirror their parents' behavior. So if parents are constantly on their phone, especially when interacting with other parents, their so-called friends, kids pick that up and the cycle goes over and over and over. Physically, when you're trying to go to sleep, don't look at your phone. Many people think it helps you fall asleep, but in reality, it doesn't. Also, if you have to look at a screen for a long amounts of time, try applying the 20-20-20 rule, which means every 20 minutes, look at something 20 feet away from you for 20 seconds to let your eyes relax and keep them from getting too dry. And the best way to prevent obesity is to move and to exercise. Sometimes it's playing sports with friends. Other times it's going to the gym. Do whatever you have to stay moving. Because, like I said, we're sitting way, way too much. Now that you know how damaging technology can be, I want you to consider limiting it significantly. Technology has revolutionized our worlds today and made it safer and easier, but we're using way too much of it. Kids are being harmed socially, mentally, and their physical state is declining. So I want to ask you a new question. How much time will you spend on your phones now?
Woo! Yummy.